In today's show, we reveal what lies behind the Secret Service MI6. Not so secret after all. We expose the Britain that fights the war on terror and the Britain that aids the war on terror by hosting its terrorists. Will the law ever be changed to favour justice against war criminals? We find out what the UK Foreign Secretary has had to say. And we look at the latest statistics that show Britain to be falling behind in its quality of life. But which countries are above us in the league? Stay tuned to find out. 4 Britain-linked terrorists responsible for murdering 5 civilians have been arrested in the city of Marivan in West Iran. The Iranian intelligence ministry announced that the captured terrorists have conceded to assassinating 5 Iranians. It has been claimed that they were to receive £20,000 for each terrorist act committed. The terrorists were only paid £8,000 out of the agreed amount. Several weapons and documents have also been discovered from the terrorists. Jalil Fatahi led the terrorist organization. Currently residing in Britain, he has previously been associated with the Komile group, known to have planned a series of terrorist acts. The group has been involved in several assassinations in western Iranian cities since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Following the Islamic Revolution, the party took arm against the Islamic Republic. Its members resorted to terror attacks funded by the Iraqi regime under the Ba'ath Party. The British government has reacted to the recent accusations. Barry Marston, the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office spokesperson, claimed the UK does not support or encourage terrorist activity in Iran or anywhere else in the world. And this claim will be seen as what it is, another in a long line of slurs against the United Kingdom from the government of Iran.
I don't see that the person that is giving the statement from Foreign Office is in full knowledge of what's happening. If you go to Iraqi Kurdistan, if you meet the people, what they're doing there, is clear. It's clear that, look, the people that they have done this, they have not been supported by China or Russia. They have been given facilities to work there. The point that they cannot be stopped by even Iraqi government, like Mojahedin Khalq, that they can be stopped by Iraqi government, is because of the support in the West. I can understand that there are people in the British government that they are not involved in it. But saying that the Iranian government is just making this up and nothing is happening in the border in Kurdistan or in Balochistan or with the Mujahideen trying to put bombs in the garbage bin, that's not acceptable. They are real. They are real and they are getting support from the West.
There is no clear way forward.
A contradiction from British leaderships was soon to surface, as John Sawyers, the head of Britain's MI6, conceded last week that the UK government was carrying out espionage operations in Iran.
Of course, the Foreign Office will just deny it. I mean, they're just trying to cover up embarrassment. But yes, it was interesting that it was on the heels of Sir John Sawyers making his historic first public announcement as a serving head of MI6. And it was quite an astonishing speech because, of course, he was saying that MI6 never gets involved in dirty tricks or torture, even at the same time that MI6 and MI5, the 2 UK spy agencies, are being pulled through British courts for complicity and involvement in torture. So, you know, they can say one thing and mean another all the time.
Mr. Marston has much knowledge on Iran. He is fluent in Farsi, well educated in Iran's history, as well as its political and social matters. Yet he has displaced the part of the puzzle concerning the several anti-Iranian terrorist groups based in the UK. These terrorist organizations hold registered offices known to the British government. The groups are known to be actively planning for terrorist attacks rooted in the heart of London. Some of these groups include MKO, the close ally of Saddam Hussein, the former Iraqi dictator, Al-Ahwaz terrorist group, responsible for many bombings in Iran, Tunda terrorist gangs, Jundullah, the Wahhabi terrorist group, and many others. These organizations are increasing daily and are openly pursuing terrorist activities against Iran. Britain claims to be a country that is fighting the war on terror, yet it is speculated that these terrorist groups receive official and unofficial support from British establishments.
The head of the Mojahedin claimed herself 2 years ago they have been active in Iran in espionage, in wild attacks against civilians. We are talking about criminals. These people, they have killed 16,000 Iranians, 25,000 Iraqis. I'm not going to compare, but September 11, we only had 3,000 people. You can't support criminals. It's nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with, you can't use anything that you find in your hands, unless you're desperate as using, as I said, people that have killed 16,000 Iranians. You don't sit and say whether they have given up or they haven't given up. They have to go to court. They have to answer for the people that they have killed and they have announced that they have killed. They are not people to be invited into the parliament, whether European Parliament, whether the British Parliament, whether any parliament. That is not political. That is criminal activities which they have to be brought to justice.
Many members of these active terrorist organizations are British citizens holding the passport and citizen rights. But is it not the duty of the British government to tighten the rules on who is entitled to receive a British identity?
When you start giving citizenship to somebody that is engaged in acts of violence, whether terrorism, whether illegal drug dealing, whatever, when you start giving them the ammunition and the protection of the Foreign Office, it encourages them to do more.
The British heritage has always been defined as rich. In paying tribute to such heritage, we ought to have a system in place that protects the British image. Diversity has become the new face of Britain in the modern society, and this should be celebrated. However, regardless of race, background, or religious beliefs, British terrorists should be stripped from the privileges that come with being a British citizen. Modern-day Britain continues to see terrorists and extremists offered a British passport a little too easily. There is too little to gain and too much to lose in this policy for all of us.